Hello students, so welcome to the sixth session of your direct tax CA final May 24, November 24, CMA final June 24 and December 24 attempt. So students, in this case, yesterday the ICI has released your third module. Remember that? Did you all got through that? In fact, that will be our second module. Because already, in fact, the second module, the work has begun, and in fact, more than 60 to 70% things are covered. That is over. In fact, I've seen the module 3. The questions are those old questions which I've seen in the ICI module, but there are some new questions also, but not that much and not that great. But what I have done, students, is that I've added some more good questions in that. Which are the source of those good questions? RTPs, some past year paper, some my own more modified questions to highlight some important concepts, which doing theory becomes difficult, but through that case studies, the concepts becomes very clear. So I have used that. I have used lot of MCQs, integrated case studies, because this side of your syllabus will have two things. One, case studies and MCQs, and also descriptive questions. So students, accordingly we are geared up now for your second module also, which I will be making it so compact that it will be really a beautiful one. And I am assured that the module 1 which will be delivered now to all of you, this module 1 primarily has got those varieties of question which not even ICI, these sort of questions will never be there across. So students, let's start now. I'll start in this case. This question I have given you for a homework for you to try once. I told you about some important dynamic of this question. And you all are aware of the dynamics, isn't it? The dynamic, students, as far as the question was concerned, you people are aware of it now. What was that? Here there are too much of data in this question. And accordingly, we have been discussing one by one each and every aspect. So far as the question was concerned, each and every aspect. Each and every aspect, students, so far as the question was concerned, was being discussed. I also told you how to read down this question as well. First paragraph you will read. First of all, what did I told you? Again, repeat it. This case study, these kind of case studies should not be done at the start of your question paper. These case studies should be kept towards the end. Number one. And such huge length of case studies, I told you one important thing, which is number one, read only the first paragraph and then start into the questions. Start into the questions. So they identify what is exactly the question, and based on that, I told you can choose. I can tell you an example. This question had 3 questions on residential status, 2 questions on compute total income. At least now I can get a choice that I may do only what? Only residential status and I can move on. 2, I can leave. That sort of judgment, or may I say wisdom, can be there only if you try to attend it towards the last 1 hour. If you do it at the start, then I'm telling you, you will be in a trap. Trap is what? You will end up doing all and you will spend half an hour only on this case study. On that, also one more important point, and worth noting observation, students. What is the observation? Observation, students, is this, that when a question has got multiple persons, please put bracket for each person. And the way we have done it last time, remember? Rajesh, Soumya, PIO. Rajesh and Soumya, PIO. That is what we discussed for Rajesh and Soumya, PIO. Then for everyone, Dinesh and Karthik. Then Rajesh and Soumya. everyone, we have done the categorization. This categorization is necessary, otherwise this becomes very confusing, because it's a huge case study which is requiring you to answer the MCQs on that. So this sort of a categorization is must, it is necessary. With that, students, shall we then go ahead and do this? Please ensure to note down these things towards your last pages, the strategies which I'm telling to all of you. Okay, so I think since the YouTube lecture would be there, I'm not dictating it. Please ensure to note down these strategies which I've told to you towards the end after the lecture is over, so that those strategies are being kept. What is that? Number one, lengthy case studies like this in the 30 marks of your MCQ and case studies towards the last 1 hour. Number two, unless you don't know anything about 70 marks. So if you don't know about anything about 70 marks, then you don't have the option but to attempt this. Number two, lengthy case study, how to crack it. The second point. What is the second point? First paragraph and then read the question. And on that basis, take a call. That is point number two. Third one, what was third point? Multiple persons given in the question, split. Split them. You cannot read like a novel and then again come back to this case study and then think, oh, this is what has to be done. This is suicidal. I hope that every one of you are clear with this one. With that now, let's start with this one, students. So over here, students, if you see what we have got it, the questions. Now let's see. I think we have read last time we have read it. Huh? I hope that we have read it and we have marked it also. Students, so one only quick revision, Ram. One only quick revision that I will do with all of you is about this. This last lecture I told you something about rule number 115, isn't it? In the last class, we discussed something about rule number 115. So this rule number 115 is what I just wanted to highlight upon at this stage with all of you again. Students, obviously if you are a resident, okay, or maybe you are a non-resident and you are getting a foreign income. You are getting what? A foreign income. Then obviously that foreign income will be there in the foreign currency. And accordingly you have to then include that foreign income in your total income. As far as a resident is concerned, the global income will be a part of your total income. But whereas it is a non-resident, only two income will be a part of the total income, income which is accrued or income which is received in India. But if supposingly we say that they are denominated in a foreign currency, then obviously in computing the total income, they will have to be converted into the INR. They will have to be converted, students, into the INR, and to convert into the INR we require a relevant TT buying rate. And I told you that so far as the salary income is concerned, if it is denominated in the foreign currency, then to convert it into INR, which TT buying rate we are going to take? We are going to take the last date TT buying rate. Last date TT buying rate. You say, sir, which last month? You are talking about last month from what? From which month you are talking about last month? So the month is the month in which the salary has become due. So the month in which the salary has become due, you take the last month, and of the last month, last date, TT buying rate. That TT buying rate is what has to be applied on that foreign income, the income denominated in foreign currency, and on that basis, students, the conversion will be undertaken. So this is one point which I told to all of you. With that, let's start then, students, with our questions. First one, what is the residential status of Mrs. Soumya? So Mrs. Soumya, if you see, be careful. Who is she first? She is a person of Indian origin. We discussed last lecture, na? She is a person of what? Indian origin. Last lecture only we discussed. Remember that? Lecture number 5. End. So if she is a person of Indian origin, in this case, you should be aware of it now. Be careful what we are talking about it. So Soumya, she is a person of Indian origin. Okay. Now what? As far as the stay in India is concerned, in the current previous year 23-24, we need to decide what is her stay in India in current year previous year 2024. Let's see students in this case. So Soumya, which you can see over here, uh, this data, where is the data of Soumya? Yeah, please have a look. Mrs. Soumya, a Carnatic musician, gives concert in country X in music program organized by the Indian community in country X. That is fine. Any case, this has got nothing to do with our residential status. Which is the other paragraph of Soumya? This is the paragraph of Soumya. In previous year 23-24, this is the paragraph of Soumya. Last lecture we discussed this. In previous year 23-24, Mrs. Soumya visited India from 3rd October 23 to 31st Jan 2024. So students, tell me then, 3rd October, even the date 3rd October will be counted, and even that date 31st January will be counted. The date when you enter in India and the date when you exit in India, both dates will be considered. So therefore, how many days in October? Quickly! No, October, this. So 29 in October, in November 30, in December 31, and in Jan 31. So how many? 121 days. So be careful students. One more important word. Which is that important word? Do you know which is the important word, students? Are you aware of it or not? Say quickly. One important word, Ram. Is this that? In this case, she has visited India. Remember that now. We will discuss further, students. I'll come to this. She has visited India. Be careful of visited India. Many of you are now aware where we are heading now from this word visit. Students, what about this word? She is also visit Trichy every year for the full month of May to spend the time with her mother. Trichy, she is there, students, for the full month of May. So May also. How many days? 31. So in totality now, can I say her stay is it? 152 days. Okay, be careful. 152 days she is visiting India. Now visiting India, please go to your chart which I have taught you in the class number, which was lecture number 5 or 4, the chart which you prepared. A person who is citizen of India or a person who is of Indian origin. Person who is citizen of India or a person who is of Indian origin, if that person is coming in India for visit purpose, if that person who is a citizen of India or a person of Indian origin, if they are coming in India for visit purpose, then I told you two things. Which were the two things, students, which I told you? Check out this question, that whether the total income of that individual, excluding the income from foreign sources, exceed rupees 15 lakhs. Excluding the income from the foreign sources, excluding the income from the foreign sources, excluding the income from the foreign sources, exceed rupees 15 lakhs. This was the question. If you say that no, sir, the total income of that individual, excluding the income from foreign sources, does not exceed 15 lakhs, then there is only one basic condition to be satisfied to be considered as resident, and that one basic condition is that a stay in India in the previous year should be 182 days or more. The stay in India for that previous year should be for 182 days or more. That is only one basic condition. Whereas if you say that no, sir, in this case you say that no, that individual has the total income excluding the income from foreign sources of more than rupees 15 lakhs, then Two basic conditions. First one is stay in India for minimum 182 days, and the second one is stay in India for 120 days, 120 days or above in the current previous year, plus in the last four preceding previous year, aggregate stay should be for minimum 365 days. Aggregate stay minimum should be for 365 days. So let's check whether Soumya, she's satisfying it. For this, we need to check her total income, excluding the income from foreign sources. That would be the decider. So Soumya income, students, if you see Soumya's income, so check it out. She owns a house property in Trichy, which has been let out for 40,000 per month. Municipal taxes 6,000 per annum. So can you tell me the Trichy house property? 40,000 students into 12. How much is that? 4.8 lakhs minus municipal tax. But who is paying municipal tax? Tenant is paying. Students, under the head house property, only the municipal tax which is paid by the owner will be allowed as deduction. This municipal tax is paid by the tenant. Indeed. And hence, I'm just writing here. If I have to solve in the MCQ and also you will have to solve the MCQ, we will not solve like this. We will solve very fast. But nevertheless, because you are learning also in the process, I'm going deliberately a bit slow. So, municipal tax paid by the owner. Nil. So, your NAV is how much? NAV is also 4.8 lakhs. 30% is the standard deduction. 30% is the standard deduction. How much is that? 1.44 lakh students. All of you. And there is interest. Is there any interest? No, there is no interest. So therefore, HP income is 3.36 lakh students. All of you. Perfect. What else is the income apart from this? So 3.36 lakhs. So she has income from music concert plus. So now HP income 3.36 lakhs plus this 3 lakhs she has got from Chennai music concert, and then she also earns interest income of 9 lakhs. So now how much is that total? 9 plus 12, 15.36. That's it, students. 15 lakhs above. 15 lakhs above, students. And therefore, students, if it is more than 15 lakhs, in that case, what we are going to say? In this case, her stay basic condition applicable. Now the basic condition applicable would be either she is staying in India for 182 days or she stays in India for at least 120 days in the current previous year, and in the last four preceding previous year she stays in India for an aggregate period of 365 days. For the aggregate period of 365 days. Is that point clear to all of you now, students? Every one of you. Got the clarity, students? Now you tell me 182 days is not applicable over here. (182 days students is not applicable over here. All of you agree? Does she stay in India then for 120 days or above in the current previous year? Does she stay in India for 120 days or above in the current previous year? And the answer is yes, she stays. Yes, she is staying it in India. What is it happening? Okay. So she stays in India for that period of 120 days or above. So which is very clear now for all of us. Last four preceding previous year, please check out. Last four preceding previous year. So current year she stays in India for 120 days above. Yes. Last four preceding previous year, does she stay in India for a minimum period of 365 days in aggregate? So every year she is in India. They have told you. So every year she is in Chennai entirely during these 2 months for this purpose. So 2 months is secured. Which 2 months? December and January. So December and January every year she is there. And then every year For a full month of May. For a full month of May, students. Isn't it? This time, October, November, she had to come. Students, this time, October and November, she had to come for her mother because she was not well. That's the reason why she had to come extra October and November. But otherwise, standard if you see, she is always there for the 2 months of November and December and January, and the other 2 months is other 1 month is May. So therefore, students, December and January means 31 and 31 plus May is also 31. So in all, how much? 93. 93 in 4, how much is that? 372 students. So last 4 preceding previous year, her stay is 372 days. And if that be so, then so be it. So accordingly, students, what we are going to say? She is a resident because of that condition. Which condition? 120 days in the current previous year and the last 4 preceding previous year. Minimum is 365 days. So she is a resident. And if she is a resident because of that condition, I gave you a note on that. Automatically, the person will be considered as R and NOR. Did it I told you? For 2 particular provision, the individual automatically becomes R and NOR. One is this 120 days in the current year and the last 4 preceding previous year, 365 days minimum. And that another case was the deemed resident of 61A. We did all that in the last lecture itself. Last lecture or last to last lecture. The deemed resident of 61A. So if you become a deemed resident as per 61A, then your status automatically would be R and NOR. Because this is the last, student, because after this we are going to the foreign company now. So this is the last chance which I am getting for all of you to quickly revise that. So students, R and NOR is our status. R and NOR is our status. Now what about Mr. Dinesh and Karthik? Mr. Dinesh and Karthik, students, who are they? First of all, tell me, who are they? Are they citizen of India or person of Indian origin? Dinesh and Karthik, who are they? Already the entire paragraph last lecture only we discussed. Huh? They are PIO. They are person of Indian origin. And therefore, students, in this case, because that they are PIO, hence in this case, what you are going to get it? Because that they are PIO students. So therefore, let's see further what is the data. Now, Dinesh joined mechanical engineering in IIT. In IIT Delhi, after completing his engineering, he took up employment in ABC Limited, a multinational company in Gurgaon, at a monthly salary of 1,50,000 from September. Monthly salary from September 23. Now, Dinesh visits his parents for 1 month every year. For the rest of the year, he is in India. September 23, students. So, tell me, in this case, yeah. But current year, if you see, what is the situation, students? He is there for 11 months. Isn't it? Because he was there for 11 months, na? Mr. Dinesh. So there is no, and Mr. Dinesh, so 182 days. Does Mr. Dinesh has stayed in India for 182 days? Yes. 11 months, na? Immediately after IIT Delhi, he joined the employment. He was there in India, it means. Before September 23 also he was there in India because he was with IIT Delhi. And if you take out that 1 month which he stays with his parent abroad, so 11 months he is there. So yes, 182 days. Mr. Dinesh, we can safely say he is a resident. Isn't it? Resident. Right now, students, you will say, sir, whether Mr. Dinesh could be considered as a resident and ordinary resident. So Dinesh at least confirmed resident. But R and OR or R and NOR, I will do it with you. Students, I will do it with you. But we will discuss something about how to crack the examination questions. How to crack it? The intelligence has to be there. You cannot do examination, the way you are learning, examination has to be smart. Smart work is very important, students. So Dinesh is a resident, fine. Let's stretch further. Is he ordinary resident or not ordinary resident? So you may be aware that ordinary resident requires two further additional conditions to be satisfied. And those two additional conditions are, he should be at least be a resident for 2 out of last 10 preceding previous years. He should be at least be a resident for 2 out of last 10 preceding previous year. Obviously, I can make it out. He is a resident from 2016 students. He is staying here, isn't it? And what is the second condition? His stay in India, students, should be, yeah. So that is to say, in last 7 preceding previous year, his stay should be 730 days or above. That is also satisfied. From 2016 he is here. Only 1 month he is going abroad. Goes without saying that he is there in India. If you just take last 2-3 years only, he will 3 years only. I think he will cross that threshold of 730 days, isn't it? So yes, he is RNOR. Fine. Let's take about Karthik now. Where is Karthik? Karthik is also PIO, person of Indian origin. We discussed last time also. So Karthik completed architecture in College of Architecture in country X and took up the job in LMN INC. San Francisco in year 2023 for a monthly salary of US dollar 5,000. Nothing in India right now. Let's see further. Anything of Karthik? Anything we are getting of? We got Karthik again. Karthik back. Mr. Karthik. I think so there's some data issue, students, over here. It seems that after hmm? No, not that. What I'm saying is that I'm just checking for Mr. Dinesh. Here, if you see, Dinesh has joined from September 2023. Isn't it? After completing engineering, who took up employment in ABC Limited, a multinational company in Gurgaon, at a monthly salary of. Hmm? Yeah, no, what I'm only trying to say is that monthly salary, he started the job in September 2023. Okay, but if you see further, in this case, next page, students, then what do you get? Next page, if you see, students, some issues there in data. Mr. Dinesh resigned his job on 20 September 2023. Isn't it? Got the point? What we're discussing? Just a second. Just allow me 2 minutes. I'll quickly check the original source. Just 2 minutes, students. Give me 2 minutes. I'll just do the quick correction. It should be like 2022, but still I will check once. I think that job that he has taken is in 2022, but let me confirm once and then we can settle down with this. The job that he took, students. Yes, students, I think that's an error. 2021, make this one 2021. 2021 students. Okay. So 2021 students, you can just please take correction over here. This would be 2021. So 2022, sorry, 2022. That is the last year. Make this as last year, 2022. Perfect. So this is 2022, but still it will not have any impact. Why? Because if you see Mr. Dinesh, he has left India in the current year. Then 20th September 2023, he has left India. It will not actually happen any difference. Why? Say Mr. Dinesh is staying in India for 60 days, at least 60 days we can say in the current year. Last four preceding previous year 365 days. Yes. So therefore, he at least satisfied the second basic condition. I'm not even testing the first basic condition for him. I'm only testing the second basic condition. 60 days in the current year and 365 days in the last four preceding previous year. Isn't it? So that is one thing which has been there. By the way, how many days he has stayed in India? 20th September, if you see. 20th September that you see. How many days he has stayed in India? Just let's calculate once. Normally, April 30, April 30, May 31, June 30, July, August, September 20, 133, isn't it? Now let me give a googly to all of you. Mr. Dinesh has stayed in India for 133 days. Googly to all of you now, students. Are you ready for the googly? Perfect. Now the question to all of you is that Mr. Mr. Dinesh, who has stayed in India for 173 days, the googly to all of you students is this, that don't you think that? Don't you think that, students? What has happened? Suddenly some magic is happening. Don't you think that, students, in this case? He is leaving India for the purpose of taking up employment outside India. Students, Mr. Rajesh is leaving India for the purpose of, yes, Trinath has picked up. Exactly. Leaving India for the purpose of taking up the employment outside India, and therefore the second basic condition should not be applicable. That is what you are saying, isn't it? But be careful. The beauty of the question, that condition is applicable only for the citizen of India. And who is your Mr. Dinesh? Person of Indian origin. And because he is a person of Indian origin, that explanation, which requires only the first basic condition of 182 days to be applied for the person who leaves India for taking up employment outside India, that is applicable only for whom? Only for a citizen of India. And hence in this case, students, and hence in this case, for Rajesh, for Dinesh, whether the both the basic condition will it be applicable? Yes. The first one is 173 days, he does not satisfy. What about the next one? 60 days in the current previous year, 60 days in the current previous year plus 365 days in the last preceding 4 previous years. Answer is yes. So he is resident because of this. Resident because of this. And R and OR, we have discussed. OR, he is already there. Last 2 years he is a resident out of the last 10. And minimum 365 days in the last 4 preceding previous year. Even that is satisfied. So all the conditions are satisfied to make Mr. Dinesh R and OR. Beautiful question, students, isn't it? Just quickly pick up a note here. Quickly write a note. Ram, all of you. These are the beauty of the question. Question, right? Case study number 1. One note. Mr. Dinesh. Mr. Dinesh stays in India for. Mr. Dinesh stays in India for 173 days. In the previous year. In the previous year, 23-24. Full stop. In the previous year, 23-24. Full stop. On 20th September 23-24. On 20th September 23-24. Sorry. 20th September 2023. 20th September 2023. He has left India. He has left India for the purpose of taking up the employment outside India. For the purpose of taking up the employment outside India. Full stop. Since he is PIO, since he is a PIO, underline the word PIO. Therefore, both the basic conditions shall be considered. Both the basic conditions shall be considered to decide his residential status. His residential status. Full stop. Full stop. As he satisfies the second basic condition, second basic condition, and both the additional condition therefore he shall be considered as R and OR. R and OR. Full stop. Fine, students, all of you. Every one of you are clear with this one? Just keep this point in mind. Now let's come to the next person. Who is the next person? Is your Karthik. So as far as Karthik is concerned, students, he resigned from that foreign company on 30th of November. And he joined PQR in Mumbai. Okay, PQR Limited in Mumbai. He came to India on 2nd December. So students, from 2nd December. So December how many months? For Karthik, December how many months? 2nd December. 2nd also would be considered. So considering 2nd would be 30. January 31. February 29. March 31. So how many days? 121 days. Be careful now. Is he coming for visit purpose? He came to India to join PQR Limited, students. To join PQR Limited on 5th December 2023. In this case, tell me, 5th December 2023, his salary in PQR was this much, and here it was this much. So first you tell me one thing for Karthik. Students, for Karthik, is he coming 120 days? Now, what about fine? Is he coming in India for visit purpose? No, he is coming in India for employment purpose. So, if he is coming in India for employment purpose, so that be careful. For him, the basic condition will be the same two basic condition: 182 days in the current previous year, and second one is 60 days in the current previous year, and 365 days in the last four preceding previous year. 365 days in the last four preceding previous year, that will be considered. So Karthik also will have the two basic condition, which is 182 days in the previous year and 60 days in the previous year plus 365 days in the last four previous year. That is what I am writing. This is for Karthik. Karthik is coming in India for employment. Karthik is coming, students, for what? For employment. That is what I have written. Karthik is coming for employment. So therefore, both the basic condition would be this basic condition. Always keep that in mind. So going with that, Going with that, students. So first basic condition of 182 days, Karthik is not satisfied. What about the second basic condition? Is he satisfying the second basic condition? 60 days, yes, 60 days in the current year is there. What about the last 4 preceding previous year? So if you see, he used to visit his maternal and paternal grandparents for 2 months, July and August. So July and August means 31 plus 31, 62. So 62 days in this case. And in the year 2022, he visited India for month of what? In July 2022. So 62 into 3, how much is that? Because for 3 years 62, and for one it is only 31. 3 years 62, no? So 62 into 3. For 3 years he has 186. So for 3 years he has came for 186 days, and for 1 year only for 31 days. Which 1 year? In the year 2022. So therefore that is 31 days, which is 217. So this second basic condition of 60 plus this one is not satisfied. Even this 182 days, students, is not satisfied. So neither this nor that. Mr. Dinesh, congratulations, you are a non-resident. Mr. Dinesh is non-resident, students. So the final answer would be Karthik, R and OR, and Dinesh, N R. Is that point clear, students? Quickly, all of you. Can you see this? D is the answer. D is the answer, students. Okay. One more way I'll tell you, students. In the examination, how you should think of it. You have to be smart students in the examination, isn't it? And now, right now, because you are learning, from the learning point of view, I have taught you. But now, students, I will take you through to how you address this issue on the day of the examination. At the time of the examination. One thing for Mr. Karthik, we concluded that Mr. Karthik, you are R and NOR. So R and NOR is this, sorry, R and OR. For Karthik we discussed, huh? Mr. Karthik is resident and audit resident students. So therefore we already know this. So R and OR is which category? This two category. So we know that the answer has to be from B and C, or B and D. I know that because see, A is NR, incorrect. C is NR, incorrect. So definitely the answer has to be from B and D. All of you agree to this one? B and D. And if it is B and D, then just see B option for the other person, Dinesh. They are using the word what? Mr. Dinesh? Resident in this case and non-resident. Isn't it? Resident and non-resident. So that is what we have discussed primarily, that yes, Mr. Dinesh is non-resident. Not required. If he is a non-resident, the moment we concluded he is a non-resident, we will not see. Yeah, that is true. So that is a good observation by Venkat. What he has said that, sir, supposedly in this question, if he would have been resident, that is this particular this thing. If this question, students, supposing he would have been resident, then students save time and then don't drag further in the examination for the other feature. Why other feature? Because your next option is non-resident. In this question, students, the answer is point number D. Okay, but supposing if in this question he would have been a resident, okay, then please don't go further for Karthik to decide what? Decide whether he is ordinary resident or not. Why? Because the other option is what? Other option is non-resident. So automatically the answer would be resident but not ordinary resident. Is that point clear to all of you? This is what is required while you solve the MCQs. You don't have to solve the MCQs in entirely. In fact, I don't know students whether you are aware of it or not. In the CAT examination, the IIM and all, when we do that, it is not about always knowing the solution. It is not about what? Knowing the solution. Do you know what is the objective of the MCQs and all? The CAT examination, the IIM CAT that you give, or the ICA 30 marks objective. Nobody tells you, and nobody will ever tell you. And this is a slogan. Remember this slogan, students. What is that? The slogan is, ICA will never tell you. Nobody knows it. Not even a single person has even addressed it. The 30 marks MCQ slogan is timely excellence is always better than what? Better than out of time perfection. Out of time perfection. Out of time perfection. Timely excellence is always better than out of time perfection. Did you realize this? Right now our answer, the way we are addressing the answer right now in the classroom, we are trying to achieve the perfection. Why? Because we are learning the concept also, no? In the process. But in the examination, are you going to solve like this? No. In the examination, the way we discussed just now, if Mr. Karthik was a resident, then don't go further to test the other two condition. Additional condition. Why? Because I know my next option is non-resident. So therefore, resident, I will stop here, move further. In these examination, you need not even know the solution. Some MCQ, I will prove it, students. Some MCQ, you will not be required, you are not even required to know the solution. If you know what are the wrong answer, the balancing figure is the correct answer. If you know the wrong answer, then the balancing figure is the correct answer. That will be much better to speed up your answer deriving exercise rather than knowing the correct answer. Knowing the wrong answer will give you much faster solution rather than deriving the correct answer. Is that clear to all of you students? So I am going to expose you right now in the classroom as we proceed with these sort of scenario just to open up your mind. At the end of the day, the examination will have some new things. But if you have not practiced at all, how you are going to get this flash on the day of the examination? Good decisions, students, are always made in a flash. Always remember this. Good decisions are always made in a flash. But those flash come through lot of practice and hard work. Otherwise, the flash will never be coming to you. So just be ready for that. And with that, students, let's proceed to our next question. What is the next question? I think the next Rajesh, we have done already. Okay, Soumya we did. No, Dinesh, total income is there. Next question is total income. Friends, what is the total income of Dinesh chargeable under the Income Tax Act, students? Total income of Dinesh. Now Dinesh already we know he is a R and OR. So we don't have to worry. We have to worry for Karthik. Students, we will have to worry for Karthik. Why worry for Karthik? Because it is Karthik who is a non-resident. It is a Karthik who is a non-resident. And in that situation, in this case, students, let's have a look quickly for Mr. Dinesh. He came in India, students, on 20th September and he took up the employment at a salary of 7,000 per month. Sorry. 7,000. This was 2022. When he is leaving India? Yeah, he is leaving India on 20th September. Isn't it? He left India on 20th September. Actually, one particular error. He left India on 28th of September, technically speaking. Although he is a RNOR anyway, but I think in our calculation, we considered Dinesh from 20 September. It is not 2028. He left the job on 20, but he left India on 28. For Dinesh, I'm talking. So Dinesh would be how much in this case? Plus 8 you have to do. In any case, he is hitting that league of 181 days, isn't it? Dinesh left the job on 20, but he left India when? 28 September. So you have to actually take 28 September in this thing. Is it 181? And how much we require first basic condition? 182. Students, can we now in the examination for MCQ, be careful for your attempt. Can you note in your last page, students, can you now note after doing all this hard work, can you note in your last page when the person has to leave India? If he minimum stay in India in previous year, minimum stay in India in previous year 23-24 to get 182 days. 182 days he should leave India earliest time. What is the earliest time? 29 September. So till 29 September, 2023. Can we say that? Because if he stays in India till 29 September, then 182 days. If he stays in India till 29 September, is it 182 days? Yes. So can we conclude in the last page? If any individual stays in India till 29 September, he will be considered as what? He will be considered as resident in India. Just last page, students, last page of your notebook. I already told you some critical observation. We are putting it in the last page of your notebook. So this observation also should go to the last page. For previous year 23-24, if any individual leaves India on or after on or after 29th September 2023, on or after 29th September 2023, he will be considered as resident in India. He will be considered as resident in India, as his stay in India will be 182 days or above. 182 days or above. 182 days or more. Can you, in the examination, can you keep solving like this? April 30 days, May 31, June 30 days, July 31, like that. Can you solve in the examination? No. You need to know when he lives in India. 29, here it was 28. So 28 he is leaving. Not, first condition is not satisfied. So you go to second basic condition to see. But at least we know that anyone who leaves India on 29 September or after that, he is a resident. He is a resident. I hope that these conclusions are fine to all of you. Okay. Right? One more line, student. Next line. Next line. Same point, next line. If he leaves before 29 September, then the the sorry, then his residential status, will be determined on the basis of the second basic condition, in the bracket, students write 60 days or 120 days plus 365 days, bracket complete. If applicable, 60 days or 120 days in plus 365 days, bracket complete. If applicable. Why I have written if applicable? Because second basic condition not in all the cases is applicable. We have seen that in some cases it is not applicable at all. Yeah, so those are the cases. So we have to see whether second basic condition will be applicable. So always keep in mind. So always keep in mind this observation, because on the day examination you cannot keep solving like April, May, June, July, August, September. That way solving is not recommended on the day of the examination. You cannot complete a paper at all if you keep solving like this. You need to know the specific date when he leaves resident as a case. Okay, okay, so we were for Mr. Karthik. No, we were for Mr. Dinesh, no? Dinesh was we are doing, no? Yeah, Dinesh. So Dinesh, students, 7,000 per month he is earning. From last year he is earning 7,000 per month. This is also, so this just the dates that we change. Can you just do this also 2022 for this September 2022 last, yeah, September 2022 herein, and also okay, sorry, fine. Just a second. So students, in this context, yeah. So his salary in the current year, students, if you see, he will be getting the salary, students. Where up till when he will be getting the salary? So 7,000 per month US dollar. That is his US. So that we will not touch or will be touching it. Dinesh is a resident and ordinary resident in India. And because Mr. Dinesh is a resident and ordinary resident in India, therefore even that salary of 7,000 per month, we are going to touch it. Is that particular to all of you? Apart from that, he is earning what? How much he is earning from the Indian company? Till 20th September he was there, na? Till 20th September he was there. Until 20th September, how much he was earning? 1 lakh 50,000 per month. For 8 months full salary, 1 lakh 50,000. For 8 months full salary. But for the last 2 months, last month September, I think the pro rata they have given. Pro rata, you have to take pro rata, students. You cannot take full. So see here also. Yes. So last month you have to take pro rata 20 days. I hope that all of you are clear with this for 20 days. So 7 lakh 50 and 1 lakh. So total in this context, students, would be 8 lakh 50,000. Now foreign salary, because he is RNOR, foreign salary also will be considered. Now be careful. Now here, students, if you see October month he is starting getting the salary, but then you have to convert it into Indian INR. Students, you have to convert it into INR, and if you have to convert it into INR, you have to take what? The TT October month salary. You will take the TT buying rate of September month. TT buying rate of September month 70. Similarly, the November month salary, you will take the TT buying rate of October end. Similarly, December month salary, you will take up the TT buying rate of November end. January month salary, you will take up the TT buying rate of December end. February month salary, you will take up the TT buying rate of January end. Thereafter, the next one, students, March month salary, you will take up the TT buying rate of February end, and the last one, the April, we are not bothered, only March. Only March. So the last, so you start with 70 and you'll end with 72. Multiplication if you do. So for every month you have to do a table of that. For every month, students, you will have to do the table for that. And the table. So you start with 70 and you end with 72. Okay. 7,000 is common, but you have to do a table because every month the TT buying rate is different. 29 86 on 200, all of you. Okay. Now be careful. This is where you people will struggle badly. You know where you will struggle badly, friends? Is on the standard deduction. That's the beauty of the concept. These are the questions, students. Now one important point I'll just tell you, and that is about, in this case, what is the question? Again, please come back to the question. Under the regular provision of the income tax, this is the optional scheme. Optional scheme, students. Now, students, recall our first two class. In the first two class, what we discussed? In the optional scheme and versus the default scheme. In the default scheme, students, you would have got, what you have got? That person who is there in the default scheme, students, some deductions are not available. Few deductions from every head is not available. And also chapter 6A, almost all the deductions are not available in the default scheme of 115 BAC, except for few, one or two, in the default scheme of 115 BAC. First two class, I taught you that. And therefore, as far as the salary is concerned, you know, one of the biggest outages under 115 BAC, which is your default scheme. If you are in a default scheme, then what happened? Standard deduction, students, standard deduction is not available. Congratulations. Standard deduction is not available. And that is the reason why this question is talking about what? He has taken the regular or the optional scheme. Optional scheme. And because he has taken that regular or the optional scheme, therefore whether the standard deduction, will it be available? Yes. Standard deduction will be available. Now my question to all of you again, I am telling you where you people are going to go wrong. In this previous year 23-24, Mr. Dinesh was working with two employers. In this previous year 23-24, Mr. Dinesh, was he working for two employers? Yes, he was. So two standard deduction will be available. This is what you people learned in Inter C, isn't it? Employer wise standard deduction. Do we get employer wise standard deduction? Is a concept. Sir, first of all, We have not read income tax at all in inter CA, and salary topic we hated to the core in inter CA, isn't it? Majority of the students are saying that salary topic they have hated to the core in inter CA out of the all income tax chapters. So therefore, in this situation, be careful. You get only one standard deduction. You don't get two standard deduction. Is that point clear to all of you? Every one of you are clear with this one now? And that exactly is the point. So therefore, in this particular case, less standard deduction only 150,000. And then the income from salary is how much? 37 lakhs 86,200. Acha, he has also got interest income. Students, the data is given interest income. How much? Interest on what? FD, na? Students, this is interest on FD, by the way. Interest on FD. How much is that? 40,000. Students, just for your information, I am telling you, if this would have been interest on saving bank account, be careful of this information. Huh? Then what? Then in that case what? In this case, 80 TTA, there is a deduction of maximum rupees 10,000. Just keep an eye on that data. Keep an eye on that data, students. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. Keep an eye on that data. 80 TTA, 10,000. So therefore, when I am calculating the total income of Mr. Dinesh Ramdi, IFOS, this is fine. But 80 TTA, answer is no. Shall we go to now Mr. Karthik? As in, I'm not getting it. Four 26.6. And this? Okay. Indeed, that is one of the good observation of the students in the classroom. And that observation is that it's one of the fastest way to solve would be, the student's observation is that first select the conversion rate. First select the conversion rate, the eligible conversion rate. And once you have selected the eligible conversion rate, in this case, you do the total of that only. Okay, and once the total is done, directly multiply by what? 7,000. Because all of the amount is 7,000 rupees. Since this is common, therefore take that common and multiply with that conversion. So that is a mathematical observation, great observation, isn't it? See, these are the devices that you should know to solve the questions very fast. And one of this you can keep in mind, because you have to be equipped with all the contingency that will be there in the examination. That's a very good observation. This can work only if one is constant. Huh? If both are fluctuating, obviously this cannot work. One has to be constant. So what has to be constant? The amount has to be constant. Then this will work. Select the relevant this and add the entire conversion rate, and thereafter go for a kill. Now come to Mr. Karthik, students. Mr. Karthik, who is Mr. Karthik? He is a non-resident. Mr. Karthik already was being calculated as non-resident. So where is the date of Karthik? Here is the date of Karthik. Now Karthik, students, has resigned from LMN on 30th November 2023. He came to India on 2nd December. Now one thing is there, because he is a non-resident, the salary that he earns in LMN will not be taxable in India because he is a resident. In the case of Dinesh, because he is a RNOR, therefore the salary which he is earning in US, even that is getting taxed. See the difference between the two, isn't it? In this case. So now in the year 2022, sorry, here in for Mr. Karthik, if you see students, Karthik resigned from LMN INC dot on 30th November 2023 to join PQR Limited in Mumbai. He came to India on 2nd December 2023 and joined PQR on 5th December 2023. His salary in PQR is 99,200 per month. He used to visit his maternal parents for 2 months. That we are not concerned. So students, directly in this case, 99,200 per month salary. What else? That is the only income of Mr. Karthik or something else? Saving, interest, 9,500. Can you see of Karthik? This is what I was telling to all of you. This is what I was telling to all of you just now for Dinesh. So whether Mr. Karthik will he be eligible for 80 TTA deduction chapter 6A? Answer is yes. 80 TTA deductions for the interest and maximum is 10,000, so you will get full deduction of 9,500. Now 99,200 rupees students, technically speaking we should do for 5 days. For 4 days has to be excluded, but if you see over here in this context, so what is the technical this thing for the December month students? 86,400. From 5th to 31st, 86,400. Then Jan, Feb, March, 3 months, 297,600. 50,000 is the standard deduction. Income from salary, IFOS, 80 TTA. Again I am repeating, he has opted out from the default scheme and the regular provision is made applicable to him. Opted out from the default scheme and the regular provision is made applicable to him, and therefore this chapter 6A deduction of 80 TTA has been made available to him. And what about Mr. Rajesh? Straight away he is a NR. How come Mr. Rajesh is NR in this case? Quickly students, last question. Thereafter, no, this is such a beautiful question. You will also agree to this. Beauty, this question, it cannot go bigger than this. Let's see for Mr. Rajesh. In fact, every concept gets tested over here in this question. So if you see so far as Mr. Rajesh is concerned, what do we get it? So Rajesh is also a PIO. Friends, Rajesh is a PIO. See the beauty of the question. Can you see this relevant data of Mr. Rajesh? This is a game. This is a game. Mr. Rajesh visits in India for 1 month every year to be with his parents who were born in Coimbatore and have always lived in Coimbatore. So he comes in India only for 1 month. So 6-1 basic condition not satisfied. So 182 days, all that is not satisfied. So in this case 6-1 not satisfied. And by the way, he is coming for visit purpose. So he is coming for visit purpose in a way, we can say that way. So 6-1 not satisfied. Okay. Now if you see 6-1A, they are giving you a lot of income of Mr. Rajesh. Which are those income students? Be careful. Income from textile business 80,000. You may assume that the currency is in foreign currency, fine. Thereafter, textile business in country, this is 80,000. This business income now just for learning purpose, students, learning purpose. As per rule 115, students, you can write here. Rule 115 says what? For business income, you have to take TT buying rate of only 31st March. Because business income, students, in this case, is this one, no? 31st of March. Okay, but obviously, students, tell me one thing. This business income is a foreign income. So I'm just making you write over here, just for your knowledge sake right now. It's not that we are going to do anything about this, but just for knowledge sake. That okay, in rule 115, business income, if it is in foreign currency, then how do we convert into INR? by applying the TT buying rate. Of which date? Of the last day of the previous year. Last day of the previous year. Fine, so that is what it is. Next is your rental income from house property in Coimbatore, 60,000 per month. Interest on FD with SBI is 10 lakhs. So, can you just consider how much is his total income other than the foreign income? Total income other than the foreign income, students. So, rental income 60,000. So, 60,000 into 12, 7,20,000. Now, from this 7,20,000 minus the standard deduction, 30%. You minus it and then give me house property income is how much? 5,04,000. Fine. Then thereafter, students, if you see, he has got the Coimbatore FD income 10 lakhs. So he is also crossing, students, the threshold 15 lakh 4,000. 15 lakh 4,000. Remember 61A. Be careful. 61A, students. If the total income exceed rupees 15 lakhs. Total income exceed rupees 15 lakhs. Which total income other than the foreign income? So this I will say. What I am going to say of this? What I am going to say of this 15 lakhs? So I can say, so this is, write 50 lakh 4,000 as total income other than the foreign income. Total income other than what? Foreign income. So total income other than the foreign income, students, in this particular case is how much? More than 15 lakhs, isn't it? So obviously all of you now agree on this particular part. Other than the foreign income. Whether 61A is applicable then? Okay, friends. So all that is done. So you will be happy and then you'll say he is a deemed resident. But be careful. You know that Mr. Rajesh, that deemed resident of 61A is applicable. This deemed resident of 61A is applicable only to whom? Only to a citizen of India. This is a game. And whereas Mr. Rajesh, who is Mr. Rajesh? He is what? PIO. He is a PIO, that is the person of Indian origin. I hope that now every one of you are clear. All the students. Fine, students. And that exactly is the point. So with this, students, we are done with this particular part completely. I hope that every one of you are now clear with this. Such a beautiful case study, students, which captures each and every aspect. I think you do this case study, you do everything across it. Nothing is left. That's the beauty of this case study, students, isn't it? So you do it this, you do everything whatever is required in this context. Up till now, I must say this is the best case study. The reason is clear, students, because even our first two class, that residential, that default scheme, optional scheme, chapter 6 reduction, even all that is being considered very beautifully in this context, and that exactly is the point, students. So we are through with this one, students, now in this particular context. Now, students, in this case, we are done with it. Now the last residential status, students, which is left is for a company in our discussion. It is for what? It is for a company, students. Now I'll just make a brief introduction so far as the company is concerned for all of you. If you see it very carefully, see a company, come back to the discussion. A company, so far as a company is concerned, if you are an Indian company, then by default, students, if you are an Indian company, then by default, students, you are a resident. Whereas if you are what? In this case, if you are other than an Indian company, then you will be resident only if what? Only if the poem of that foreign company is in India. Only if what? The poem of that particular foreign company is in India. The poem test. Students, only if the poem of that foreign company is in India. Now many students are asking, now this is a very new provision. I'm not aware if you would have even heard of it in your intercede poem. Heard of it? But can you tell me what was the provision before that? Because this is very relatively a new provision in this case. Earlier, a foreign company, students, be careful. Earlier, a foreign company would be considered as a resident in India. Earlier, a foreign company would be considered as a resident in India. Where it would be considered as a resident in India? If it's 100% control and management, it's 100% control and management is situated outside India. 100%, students, be careful. So only if it's 100% control and management is situated outside India, that the foreign company's poem will be said to be situated where? Outside. Not foreign, don't use the word poem. If it's 100% control and management is situated outside India, that, oh sorry, I've done a reverse. Just this thing. Again, I'm coming back. For a foreign company, before this poem concept, students, a foreign company, before its poem concept, it would be considered as a resident in India. It would be considered as what? As a resident in India only if, only what? 100% control and management of that foreign company is situated in India. 100% control and management of that foreign company is situated in India. Only then the foreign company, as per the old provision, will be considered as what? As a resident in India. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. This created a huge loophole, especially in that time, in the last decade, when suddenly you found that the Indian companies started acquiring many of the big foreign companies outside India. This became a serious loophole in the law, especially in those times when the Indian companies started acquiring some big foreign companies outside India. I'll give you one example. Tata Jaguar car. Chorus is one of the other example. Chorus teams. Tata is the best example. The Jaguar car that you can see now, which is in India, foreign company. Do you know what it was? that Jaguar company was just like your Kingfisher and Jet Airways. Means huge potential and a great car, but bad management. So therefore loss making. Same was also with the Kingfisher and Jet Airways. Great airline, but a very bad management, loss making. And therefore Tata in fact did the acquisition. Obviously students, whenever you people acquire a loss making unit, it is a great responsibility. First is to turn around that company from loss to profit making, and obviously you have spent so much money. So till the time it becomes profit making, till the time it becomes what? Profit making, you will ensure to have the entire control and management in your hands. Control would be of yours. No? You have given the money and that company is a loss making company. So first of all, the heads will roll out from the company. Many big top management guys, they will say the golden handshake will be given to them so that they do a cost reduction, and therefore the control would be with whom? With that person who has bought the company till he finds what? That there is a turnaround of that company. And that is what has happened over here also. That is what has happened over here also. And what was that? So in this case, if you see what they did, Tata, they kept that same board. Board of directors was the same, but few of them were being told to leave. And instead of that, Tata put up some their own people in that board. At the same time, Ratan Tata was clear on one thing, that next 3-4 years we need to turn around this company from loss to profit. Do whatever it takes to be done. And the most important point that was being said, students, the most important particular point, students, that was being said was this: be careful. Was what? That these companies, students, were being told what? That we are giving you this particular amount. We are all giving you this particular amount. Okay. But the most important particular point, students, that was being told to you, that Ratan Tata told to the board of directors one very important thing, which was that the board, whatever you decide, you will give me the final decision, and only if I approve, that the decision will be implemented. This is known as, students, do you know what this is known as? A word is used, de facto control. What it is? De facto control. This is the de facto control. Like earlier, there used to be a joke around, which was that in the last UPA government, Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. But de facto control, everyone knew who was having the control. So therefore, in that case, the de facto, the real control was somewhere else. So that is where it was. So what Mr. Ratan Tata did, that the board of directors, you do your board meetings, put your decisions, but give me your decision, and only if I approve, that the decision will be implemented. Only if I approve, that the decision will be implemented. This was what was the game for that foreign company. Accordingly, students, obviously now you will know, if this is what it was, then all of you will know this. What was that, students? Important point. The important point, students, in this case was that because of this particular reason, students, because of this particular important reason, students, the company had to suffer. And what was that? This particular company, students, which had a de facto control, now what they have to say is this, that primarily all the decision the company used to take in the board in France, that used to go to India, to Mr. Ratan Tata. Only when he say yes, approve, implement. Do you know the strategy what he did? He ensured that the board of directors are also decision making authority and I am the ultimate decision making authority. They are also a decision making authority, but I am the ultimate decision making authority. So do you know what has happened? The control and management was in the two countries. Which country? In India and also outside India. So can we say that the 100% control and management was in India? No. And because the 100% control and management was not there, therefore what? Therefore that foreign company was not considered as resident in India. Because the 100% control and management was not there, therefore the foreign company was not considered as resident in India. Now this was a big loophole of law. Because he knew that that foreign company is getting effectively managed from India. Ultimately, he is the god. If he doesn't approve it, that's it. That decision is like a piece of paper. It has to be put in dustbin unless he approves. And therefore, effectively, it is getting managed from India. Effectively, it was getting managed from India, but the fact remained that yes, effectively, it was getting managed from India, but 50 control and management was not 100% in India. And because control and management was not 100% in India, therefore, what students? We cannot do what? We cannot say that the foreign company is a resident in India. And therefore, this became the loophole. People started doing the acquisition this way only. Let the board remain outside India. But the decision of the board will be implemented only if we gave a final approval from India. And therefore, it remained, foreign company remained non-resident. The foreign company remained non-resident students in this case. But the effective management was happening from India. The effective management was happening from India. This was something that they thought now it is time that we reverse this situation. We do the amendment, and the amendment is what? Now the foreign company can be considered as a resident in India. Now the foreign company can be considered as a resident in India if what? If its place of effective management is situated where? In India. So a foreign company will be considered as a resident in India if its place of effective management is situated where? In India. I hope that this point is well clear to all of you. We will refer this to be as a poem. So if its poem is in India, henceforth we will refer this as what? As poem. So if its poem is in India, accordingly students, if its poem is in India, accordingly, it will be considered as what? As a resident in India. As a resident in India, students. With that, students, let's proceed further. In this context, quickly, the poem test. Students, so here there is some notification. This I will be doing later on. After we are done with this poem, this part I will do it later on. The CBDT guidance, CBDT guidance, no, very important. But this I will do it later on. Okay. Please read page number 17. This part. Identification of poem. Now, company fulfilling ABOI test. Can you see this one, students? What it has been written? The company fulfilling what? Fulfilling the test. Which test? ABOI test. Which test, students? The ABOI test. Which is, sir, what is ABOI? You will all come to know, don't worry. The next page has what is ABOI. That is active business outside India test. Active business outside India test. So in the case when the company fulfills the active business outside India test, and what is the second one? When the company is not fulfilling the active business outside India test. When the company is not fulfilling the active business outside India test. So there are two things which you should be very careful about. Satisfying the ABOI, and second one is not satisfying the ABOI. ABOI means not fulfilling the test. Which test? Active business outside India test. You would say, but sir, what it is? Just you come to know. We will see in the next slide. But just read it from just this. These two boxes. All of you read it, students? So what do we get it? Poem is presumed to be what? Presumed to be outside India. Poem is presumed to be outside India if what? Presumed to be. What I am reading what, students? I am reading when it is fulfilling. When it has fulfilled which test? The active business outside India test. So if he is satisfied the active business outside test, then the poem is presumed to be outside India. The poem is presumed to be where? Outside India. If there is a condition. If what? Majority of board meetings are held outside India. So we will presume what? When, see, please understand, Tata, just think of Tata. This Tata Jaguar car. Only think of that case study only in your mind right now. Huh? Because I introduced this concept through that case study. Just think of that case study. Is that business that time was active outside India? Yes. That business of that Jaguar car was active outside India. That condition is satisfied. That condition is satisfied. That business is active outside India. So poem is presumed where? Presumed where? To be outside India. Poem is presumed outside India. Provided what is the condition? Majority of the board meetings are held outside India. This is general rule. General rule that the poem is presumed outside India if what? If the majority of board meetings are held outside India. That was also the case with the Tata car. If not majority, 100% board meetings were held there. In that Tata car, 100% board meetings actually was held there. Isn't it? So that is the point. But I told you already, even though the board meetings were taking place outside India, the de facto control was where? In India. I told you that. And how was that? Through this one, the de facto decision making authority. If the de facto decision making authority is not the board but an Indian parent or resident, then poem would be where? Ratan Tata, poem would be where? In India. Where would be the poem, students? The poem would be in India. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. Every one of you. That exactly is the point. So therefore, a foreign company which satisfies active business outside India test active business outside India test, then its poem is presumed to be outside India if the majority of board meeting take place outside India. However, if the de facto decision making authority is an Indian parent or a resident in India, then in that case, students, what happens? Then the poem of that foreign company is in India. Then the poem of that foreign company is where, students? It is in India. And if the poem of that foreign company is in India, then that foreign company will be considered as what? As a resident in India. That foreign company will be considered as what? As a resident in India. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. The second part, students, that you can see over here is that the company is not fulfilling the test. The poem test. The company is not fulfilling the test. Which test? The ABOI test. So which test? In this case, it is the active business outside India test is not getting satisfied by the foreign company. Then what happens in this case? So you say over here what they are mentioning, then the two-stage test to determine the poem, will be considered. And which are those two-stage tests? First one. Read this one. So if a foreign company does not satisfy the active business outside India test, then please don't jump to say that okay, if the foreign company does not satisfy the active business outside India test, then please don't jump and conclude that okay sir, in that case the poem of that foreign company is in India. Never say that. Don't jump directly like this. Don't jump to a conclusion like this. If a foreign company which does not satisfy the active business outside India test, never ever conclude by saying that the poem of that foreign company is in India. That is one big error that you people will make. That's the reason why I'm just warning to all of you. Then, in that case, how do we decide the location of the poem of that foreign company? Which foreign company? The foreign company which does not satisfy ABOI test. In such case, when a foreign company does not satisfy the ABOI test, then we need to check what? These two. Who and where? We need to check what? We need to check these two, who and where. And what is that who and where? Who is the person who is taking the key managerial and the commercial decisions for that foreign company? Who is that person who is taking the key managerial or the commercial decisions of that foreign company? That is point one. And point two, where is he taking that decision? And if that where is in India, if that where is in India, then in that case, tell me, if that where happens to be in India, students, the poem will be in India. If that where happens to be in India, the poem of that foreign company will be in India. So a foreign company which does not satisfy active business outside India test, then we need to determine two things. One, who is that person who takes the key managerial and the commercial decision of that foreign company? And once that who is decided, then the second step is where that person is taking the decision. And if that where happens to be in India, we will conclude to say that the poem of that foreign company which does not satisfy the active business outside India test, the poem of that foreign company will be in India. Is that point clear to all of you? And that exactly the point. Both means? Yeah, who and where. Both means you cannot come to where unless you identify who. Only when you identify who is that person, and based on that who, only then you will come to where he is taking the decision. You can chase that person then, but even who, I don't know who is taking it. then I'm not going to go. I will not land up where that person is taking decision. So the first and the most important point over here is who is that person who is taking that decision. And once you have identified that who, then the where would be easy for you to identify. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. Now, students, I will require now one more lecture. We will be done with this. The residential status. That is tomorrow. I will be taking across. Once I'm done with this, okay, then I'm taking across to section number 9, which is income deemed to accrue rise in India, the big section of the non-resident, which starts from section 9 onwards. And this would be a serious discussion. Indirect transfer, business connection, significant economic presence in India, royalty, FTS, interest, income, that and double taxation relief, all that is going to kick off primarily in the session starting from day after tomorrow. But tomorrow I'll complete this particular part. Okay, and the day after tomorrow timing, which I told you, it would go or hit in the early in the morning, 6:30 to 9:30 is what primarily would be the timings that we'll be having. Mostly I'll just confirm still tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll still confirm on the timing from the day after tomorrow, which will be there. Okay, so 6:30 to 9:30 would be the timing, and that is what it would be. Anyone who would be wanting this face-to-face classes, they can do the face-to-face in Hyderabad itself in SR Nagar, or else they can take across the online or the G drive, as the case may be. The numbers I suppose is given to you in the description box of this particular video. See you then, students, in the next session tomorrow.